let's get on to today's topic. The topic is the Texas high school football border crisis. So we're not talking about building a wall, but we are going to talk about building walls around the entire state. So, Max, National Signing Day is now, what, 5 days away?
5 days away.
It's Wednesday. Wednesday is National Signing Day.
We should probably start planning that show.
Wednesday is National Signing Day. It's when people will finally put pen to paper and make it official, and verbal commitments will become binding commitments.
Right.
And one thing that's interesting this year is that I feel like there's a lot fewer uncommitted guys at this stage of the game. I feel like there's a lot of guys who have already pulled the trigger and committed and said, this is where I'm going, and they seem like they're pretty firmly on board. There's some.
There's a few, but it doesn't feel like we have as many.
Doesn't feel like there's as many questions. You know,
like last year when we had like the 6
exactly.
Texas kids or whatever
that
all ended up committing to
names.
Texas.
Yeah, that all ended up committing to Texas at the last day. And so I started looking over the kind of recruiting landscape over the past couple of years, and I've noticed something because other people have noticed this too. There are a lot more kids, top-tier kids from Texas who are going out of state. A lot more. And to wit, let me put it this way. I'm using 24/7 or 247. Do they go 24/7 or 247? I don't know. Sports.
I don't think they'll care either way,
okay.
Which way you go.
247sports.com. I'm using their rankings. The reason I'm using their rankings is not because I particularly like them or don't like them or don't like another another outlet like Rivals or Scout. I'm using them because they utilize in their rankings more than one data point. They are kind of composite every data point out there, which I appreciate. As a data wonk, I appreciate that. So I looked at their top 25 players in the state of Texas. And the number one player is Marvin Wilson. He's uncommitted. In fact, of the top 25, 21 are already committed. Max, would you care to guess, of those 21, how many are committed to in-state schools?
I'm going to say 8.
6.
Ooh, just missed.
6. We have 6 players committed in-state. 6. That means, if you're doing math at home, that means that we currently have 15 of the top 25 kids committed out of state. And you know what? That number might swell. Marvin Wilson's looking out of state. Caleb Von Chason's looking out of state.
Yeah.
Levi Jones is looking out of state. Chevin Calloway from Bishop Dunn's looking out of state. So that number might grow. Okay? And if you might be saying, oh, well, Tepper, this is how things usually are. Well, they're kind of not. If you go back 15 years to 2002, that was a kind of bad year for Texas keeping kids in state. 15 stayed in state. 15 of the top 25. 2007, 5 years later, 10 years ago, 16 of the top 25 stayed in state. 2012, 21 of the top 25 kids in the state stayed in state. So what is going on? Why are kids starting to move more out of state? Now, one thing is that this is a small sample size. This is a one-year thing, and it's entirely possible that next year this thing gets turned on its head. I want to start with that. But I do think that this is a reflection of the fact that that the dominant powers in college football no longer reside in Texas. Mm-hmm. For me, I am always of the belief that when you talk about recruiting, like, yes, they're interested in the facilities. And yes, absolutely, being close to home is important to some recruits. And yes, the uniforms are cool, and maybe that's a draw. And, oh, yeah, I want to play on TV, and, this is where I'm going to have the best pro potential. For me, this is in my opinion, the number one thing that every recruit wants is to win.
Yeah.
Okay? It is not like, if that was the case, if it wasn't like that, literally, San Diego State would pull in the greatest recruiting classes every single year because it's in San Diego.
Right.
Or name another place, like,
UCLA would do a lot better
UCLA,
than they do.
exactly.
Yeah.
UCLA.
Yeah.
Everyone would go to the coasts. Everyone would go to because they want to play on the beach.
Right.
Right? That's not the case, though.
Yeah.
And I think that it's because the kids ultimately want to win. And if you look at the trajectory of specifically Texas A&M, because in 2012 they were, that was the first year. That was the first year after that was right after Johnny Manziel, or no, that was right before Johnny Manziel won the Heisman. But they brought in Kevin Sumlin, and even then A&M was teetering on kind of in the middle. They're in the big middle. But Texas was still riding pretty high. They had a tough year, but they were still considered to be okay. We're riding pretty high. Right. They're still considered to be Texas. All right. I think that has fallen now, and that now these big, the big programs in the state that we can usually count on to grab those top 25 kids, they're letting them slip.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I do think that the map has expanded for most recruits.
Right.
That, look, when Earl Campbell was coming out of John Tyler, he was going to Texas.
Right.
And if he wasn't going to Texas, he was going to Oklahoma.
Right.
And if he wasn't going to Oklahoma, he was going to Arkansas or LSU.
Right.
Okay, he was going to play in the Southwest Conference, and he was going to play somewhere near Tyler.
That's far enough away.
Maybe. Yeah. But now, if you want, now you've got kids going all over the place because the college football world has expanded. That you can watch every one of Ohio State's game. And by the way, they have 3 of the top 6 commits in the state right now.
Right.
You can watch every Ohio State game. You can watch every LSU game. Now LSU's obviously a little bit local still, but you're seeing more kids go, I think, farther out of state. We've got, right now, there are kids from Ohio State, Stanford, Notre Dame, Alabama. If you're going to lose Texas kids to Oklahoma, that's going to happen.
It's going to happen. It's always happened.
You're going to lose kids to Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
But Michigan, Arizona State.
Yeah.
That's not that's Northwestern.
Yeah.
That's representative of a bigger globe.
Yeah.
Is what's happening for these kids, is that they have more opportunities to go elsewhere.
I also think the star power in college football of coaching has increased way more than it used to be. We have so many star coaches. You list off all those schools. All these guys have a footprint now. Pat Fitzgerald is a name. You know his identity. You know what he's like because it's such a national thing now. So I think that matters.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree. I think that right now, that again, and I don't want to start a panic because I think that this thing could flip and things tend to be a little bit cyclical.
I think it'll get better. I think if Tom Herman does what we all think he does, I think Texas will recruit a much stronger class next year. He's even said in interviews they're going after the kids that they have relationships with already, and those aren't going to be as high star kids because those are the kids that were going to go him to Houston.
Right.
So.
But the bottom line of the matter is that I think the fact that Texas college football is down right now is is why kids are starting to flee the state. I think that's the biggest thing, in my humble opinion.
Yeah. So, and you don't know anything.
I don't know a darn thing.